useless now, I'm headed to class. I'm still 20%, so get your head out your ass. I'm the antonym of the internet, still cleaning up the viruses that you had left. I think I'm falling in love again. Don't stop until you hear the I'm the antonym of the internet, been fighting on new grounds over if my love is valid. Fuck the cynicism, let the colors fly. Don't care, you think it's cringe because it's not your life. She said, do you like waffles? I said, hell yeah. Been watching Equals 3 until 2 a.m. I ain't got no iPhone, but I got a DS with a keychain, a pinky. Her cupcakes are the best. I've been failing my classes cause I don't give a damn. They say the world is my oyster, but the free market's a scam. Everything's been changing since last generation was born, and they won't try to take and change. Use a two-edged sword. I'm the antonym of the internet, still cleaning up the viruses that you had left. I think I'm falling in love again. Don't stop until you I'm the antonym of the internet, been fighting on new grounds over if my love is valid. Fuck the cynicism, let the colors fly. Don't care, you think it's cringe because it's not your life. It's never too late to fall in love with the world. Your past is not today, so set your stride with a twirl. Yeah, we've all made mistakes before, that's the fact of life. But once you restate your heart, you'll be just fine. Now it's your life, you say it's all mine, all mine. Revel in your friends and hobbies, let your heart speak. Wanna drift or say some shit, just block that internet freak. I'm the antonym of the internet, still cleaning up the viruses that you had left. I think I'm falling in love again. Don't stop until you I'm the antonym of the internet, been fighting on new grounds over if my love is valid. Fuck the cynicism, let the colors fly. Don't care, you think it's cringe because it's not your life.
Alrighty. Oh, shoot. Wait. My PNG tuber isn't talking. Thought we fixed this. Damn it. I swear, every time there's an update, every time there's a Windows update, everything gets fucked to hell and back. Alright, testing. Yep, there it goes. There we go. Hello! Sorry about the late posting of the time, because I had thought I had actually posted this, but apparently I opened the tab, and for some reason that I cannot recall, I inputted, all the details, had it ready to go, and then I had it, scheduled at 7:30 or whatever, and set the time, and then clicked submit. And for whatever reason, it was set to 7:30 today, and it had not clicked submit. Oh, John Sears gonna hate this. I'm looking for it now. I've heard nothing but good things about it. I know John Sears also gonna hate that, but I've heard nothing but good things about it so far. No one at the office has played it, but a few YouTubers that played early have did first impressions or whatever. And they're all like, "It's amazing, it's amazing, it's amazing." So, I am hyped for it. I posted that thing in chat on Discord. That's like, there are the games that like everybody's in denial about them coming out. And Silksong was one of them, and now the only other one I'm waiting for is a re-release on Bloodborne on the PC. I couldn't give two shits about, like, Half-Life 3 or, Titanfall 2. Like, if they're good games, whatever, I just, like, I don't really care. I am excited to hear about the Silksong, though. I'm not going to stream it for a bit, so I'm probably going to be a bit later to stream it. I'm going to wait for everybody to kind of die down with it. I'm probably not going to stream it until, like, after October, unless I finish Wuchang. Because I was thinking I would have October be, a bunch of like every Tuesday or Thursday we'd have 1 or 2 games each day, and it'd be like a game or two for just that one day. Oh, well, I almost got to post it, Dawn Seeker, so it's not just you. Oh man, today's been crazy. Today has been utterly nuts. Although I am working on getting the VTuber model ready, as I posted on Discord. I finally managed to get both facial tracking for the mouth movements and eye tracking working on the same model. I ended up rolling it back and manually adding in the facial expressions and voice tracking stuff. It's actually kind of interesting too. The VTuber models utilize like essentially a mouth shape for each of the sounds you make, like ah, oh, and they use essentially a transformation between the open mouth shape and those shapes when you're talking. It's kind of interesting. It's been fun to talk about and look at. So I had to enter those manually, but once I entered those, it was kind of all good. So we're kind of trying to get back to that temple we got to earlier, where I was like constantly at like no health and had to run away to whatever thing I could find. So we're gonna enter the dream real quick, reset my save point. I found a hidden thing behind the elevator over there just now, which was cool. Also, we got this new armor. We got the pirate armor on. Don't know why it's half covering our chest, but I'm guessing just because game. I can't even say because anime, because this is Chinese. It is good to see you though, Dawn Seeker. Heretic through Dive Remaster. Didn't expect to have better gunplay than Duke. Really? Ooh, I might have to add that to the October list then. Might have to check out Heretic for the October, like, you know, random game list. See how that goes. But yeah, I've been working on stuff this week. Quite a lot of stuff, actually. I actually am going to hopefully have the short out sometime tomorrow. Nerdo, not Dawn Seeker. Sorry, Nerdo, not Dawn Seeker. I am an idiot. I apologize. I am a little frantic right now. I'm not sure if you can tell from my voice. I've been on a lot of shit today. Not drugs. God, so chill. Take the edge off. Code assembly. You can do what you want. I'm no dictator. I'm always going to watch you. Don't worry, Dawn Seeker. By the time I played, all the hype will have died down, and hopefully your hate will die with it. Nerdo, not Dawn Seeker. Dragon, not the anime one. To be fair, you currently have that thumbnail of One Piece. How's that Luffy thumbnail treating you, Nerdo? Not the one on YouTube, but, okay, so this is where I was before with the fire boss. I don't stream, good luck trying. Yeah, trust me, Code and Assembly plays just, like, smaller games, too. He doesn't generally play graphically intense stuff, so for him, Silksong is, like, ideal, because it's a big game that's somewhat popular, but it's also the kind of vibe he likes. In fact, he played Hollow Knight before I did. I wouldn't have played Hollow Knight, I don't think, if Code and Assembly hadn't gotten me to play it. And I thank him for it every day. Or, I should thank you for it every day. Thank you, Code and Assembly, for teaching me that Hollow Knight is truly a remarkable game that was worthy of my attention and love. I still haven't forgotten that you were the one who got me into that. I probably should. Remember that other bug game you were playing around the same time? What was it? It was the like Paper Mario but with insects thing. So many of my videos are telling me Silk Song. Well, hey, look at me. I'm restraining myself. I am playing something other than Silk Song on September 4th. That makes me a goddamn anomaly. I mean, granted, it's because I have other plans, and I will eventually get around to Silk Song. But I also don't think it deserves to entirely interrupt my, whole planning section. Because, well, I think Team Cherry are great game designers. They have also decided that they don't want to give us an actual schedule for their game releases. So they can fit into my schedule when I get the time. I still understand why Silk Song has given such power. Not because I don't understand how great a game is. Well, so Silk Song is essentially like Half-Life 3. It was a game that was supposed to come out a long time ago to immediately follow up a really good game. One of the best games and one of those influential. Bug Fable, I guess that's what it was. And over time, people have a tendency to mythologize stuff. Like, literally, it's just human nature. Over time, we tend to idealize the potential of a machine having actually done. Honestly, watching alt history channels, that's actually a really common thing too. One of the YouTube channels I really enjoy watching from time to time is alternate history. And one of his things is that he actually like breaks down based on like the actual facts of the situation, his best guess using a lot of evidence of what would have happened if events gone differently. And a lot of the time when he talks about like people dying or getting certain positions, like what if JK didn't die, or all these other things, he mostly talks about how like a lot of it would end up just being like vibes, or maybe even things wouldn't change at all. But people's just perception would change just because things kind of start doing shit. And I think there's a similar thing with games where when a game doesn't come out or it's canceled, the potential of what it could be will always be mythologized. Here's a good example. One of the games that I would probably go nuts for if I heard was actually getting released was Scalebound. It was this awesome game where you had this guy with a sword who looked like a Devil May Cry character, and he was tossed into a fantasy world, isekai style, and paired with a dragon. A dragon companion. You got to like do a lot of dragon combat against giant monsters. When I saw the trailer for that, I flipped the frick. And to this day, I still lament it as like a dragon movie never died. So if I heard that it was being released, I would be like so excited. And I think it's a similar thing for Silksong. It's this game that people have been waiting forever for, building up in their heads. And Team Cherry seems to have delivered a really good game. I'm not diminishing Silksong. I think it's going to be a good game. But it's also the fact that it's been mythologized for so long, and it's really rare for something to live up to the hype. And that's why people were kind of going nuts. Because if it had just been bad, people would have immediately gotten over it and been disappointed. But it wasn't bad. And even if it's not amazing, yep, spiritual successor Draken is forever fucking lost, and the world is so damn unfair, damn it. See, that's Silksong. That right there, what you're doing right there, that is literally what they are doing with Silksong. There you go, Dawnseeker, that's why. I'm the opposite. The sequel is released long after I expected to be that. And honestly, based on, you know what, Dawnseeker? Especially if it had a really long and turbulent development cycle, based on historical evidence, you are actually the one more statistically likely to be correct. That's the thing. The really weird thing for me is that they're kind of right this time. Usually when they overhype stuff like this, it either turns out to be okay, or good in the moment, and it fades quickly. Silksong was a really good game, an actual like full-on success in Hollow Knight, and I think it really ended up kind of winning the hype. I think it's difficult to talk about, and it does make some of the loud voices really even more annoying because they were right about it. But all in all, I think it's a good game. You shouldn't shit on it for the development cycle. And it really, and one of the things that gets me is that from what I've read, it really does look like the developers were really just making a DLC, and that DLC ended up being much larger and bigger than they expected, and they made it to a full game, and there were delays. It really just looked like passionate people who kept making something and making something. Hey, this one is justifying. Dragon game with DMC5 Nero before DMC5 was a concept, taking inspiration from Dragon? I'm sorry, but it's not a Silksong situation. I mean, I would say that proves my point, but I don't even think I really need to say that. There you go, Dawnseeker. If you were wondering, that right there, Dawnseeker. That's what you're fighting. Except, unlike me, who is just like, oh my god, Dragon game, please, any crumbs, sir. They're like, oh god, it's Hollow Knight. And look, you can hate on Silksong all you want. Hollow Knight is one of the best games of all time. I'm not sure if Silksong is gonna live up to that. That will be something I will have to figure out for myself. But there is a certain degree of hype, especially since it's Team Cherry's second game. So you have to understand, they're working on what is essentially a free-burn check of public goodwill. Like, this isn't a studio that's made shitty games. Team Cherry has literally only made a masterpiece. That kind of thing really does make people super hyped. I can especially apply this to anime as well. I was extremely susceptible to the Spice and Wolf anime. It took a lot of convincing me to watch it. Yeah, remakes in particular actually have a big problem with me. I'm very skeptical about remakes generally. Most of my biggest question with a remake is why does it exist? It has to have a reason to exist for me. Otherwise, it's be a remake, you know? But occasionally things do work out. Then pulling something like actual best game is Sonic Forces. Nerdo, have some tact. Have some, like, actual standards. I'm sorry. Look, Sonic Forces may be a perfectly acceptable game. I do not think it should even be in the running, in the same breath as best games of all time. I'm sorry, man. I'm sorry. But there are so many better options. I mean, I'll even take Tetris, honestly. If you want to go, like, if you want to make the argument of, like, purely cultural influence and stuff, I might even take Tetris. Or Pokemon. Or... not even, like, or, like, Hollow Knight, or Mario, or, hell, even, like, Pong, or Space Invaders. As, like, you know, the icon of early gaming. Code Geass movie for season 2 of Devil Review. Oh my, actually, I'm right there with you, buddy. I'm right there with you. I am 100% on board with you. Fuck the Code Geass movie. Fuck it so hard. I never watched it. I can't speak for its quality, but I can speak for the fact that it should not freaking exist. Code Geass is as close to it is as close to complete a story as you can make an anime. Yes, did it have some minor issues with the whole Euphemia shooting people thing? They were still very one of it. I'm not going to argue that. The show is not 100% perfect, but that ending is about as perfect as you can get out of that show. That was a phenomenal ending. Phenomenal. And trying to even touch that even a little bit makes me angry. Deeply angry. And the fact that Lelouch was alive, the moment I saw Lelouch in the trailer, I immediately noped out. Just 100%. Just instantly. Gone. I'm gone. You want to do other stuff in the Code Geass universe, I might be on board with it. The world, I think, has potential for this stuff, especially if you do, like, early stuff. Like, maybe a Charles and V prequel thing where Charles is, like, rising to the throne or something. There's stuff you can do there. If you touch post-Lelouch, look, you're not, that doesn't end well for you. It doesn't. You just die at some point. Dude, did you not watch Code Geass? Have you not seen Code Geass? Dude, watch Code Geass. I cannot stress it enough. Code Geass. God, I don't think I've talked about Code Geass on the show. Code Geass is one of the best shows ever. I knew that it only... I have not... And I think it's very clear. I am not judging this based on its quality. For all I know, the movie could be pretty good. I object to it because the story is complete, and no matter what they did, it would feel like an unnecessarily add-on. Like, even if Lelouch is alive, which, to be fair, the ending did hint that he was alive, he never confirmed it. There was the, because they actually cut that out of the dub release, and on any of the non-Japanese releases, Lelouch is the guy smiling, like the guy you can't see the face of smiling. So we don't know whether Lelouch is alive yet by the end. That's like left up to interpretation, essentially. But, dude, finish season 2. Holy shit. You need, I'm sorry, like, Code Geass's ending is the best thing about it. The ending of Code Geass was I think the first time an anime made me go, holy shit. I have watched that ending like 5 different times. It just hit me. It is so good. Season 2 is rough. I get it. It has some early patches. I will say this. Code Geass is not a perfect show. It has a near perfect ending. The ending for the show was so good that it overshadows almost any flaws and really does just end the arcs completely where they should be, in my opinion. Could it be improved? Yeah. If you heard the story like Code Geass, but they're going to try and fix some of the weirdness. You know what? If you want to have Euphemia's death be a result of some other kind of plot and not the Geass power going overload, maybe. Although, to be fair to that scene, and I really hate to be fair to that scene, because I hate that scene, but to be fair to it, it is an example of Lelouch slowly losing control of power as he's losing control of the situation, and the idea that his power, he himself internally could not, like, escape his destiny of war or whatever. There are thematic elements that make that scene somewhat relevant to the show, but I have 11 Dragon shows to go through, starting with it. I'm dropping Jujutsu for the sake of it. That's fine. You got some time before the next season comes out anyway. See, for me, Jujutsu could have a shit story, but I would watch the animation regardless. Yeah, Jujutsu just, like, looks gorgeous. The show, those fight scenes, God. Also, Gojo, just whenever Gojo's on screen, I'm just like, yes, please, more. Yes, more Gojo. You get a whole scene of Gojo being Gojo. It's great. A whole season. Anyway. Code Geass is definitely recommended, yes. If you have not seen Code Geass, I don't even really recommend Code Geass to people, because I feel like everyone who's watched anime has seen Code Geass. But I guess it's been a while, so yeah, maybe go check that out. It is a very good show. It's not perfect, which is why I actually like it a lot more. It's not like a Full Metal Alchemist thing where I'm like, this is kind of near flawless. The only downside is you should probably watch like the first show's version that has like the first arc better, but that's not Brotherhood is basically flawless. But like, Code Geass has like actual structural problems, but he's still a really, really good show that I like. I like the shows that are kind of flawed. Don't get me wrong, I like my like nearly perfect piece of media, but when a show has flaws, it shows the, I don't know, the difficulty in making something like that. That's really cool. Yeah, now, forever trapped in his Geass. Exactly, yeah. It was an extenuation of, like, after you found out what the price of Geass can sometimes be, where it can consume you. Yes, yes. It was building on a lot of stuff, which is why I have a hard time using this game, because I hate it. Like, everyone hates it, because Yukiya didn't deserve to die like that. Especially like that. But also, like, it was very thematically relevant, which makes it hard to hate something that's objective point of view. Like, I get why they wrote it. Although I do also think they kind of wrote themselves into a corner with Euphemia, because he's too good of a person. I genuinely would not be surprised if they made Euphemia a little too perfect. And they had to, like, do something really horrifying to get Illusion's rebellion back in the full swing. I'm unsure, maybe not, I could be completely wrong. But I have this feeling they were like, yeah, we gotta get Euphemia out of the picture here. The game is a bit loud compared to you. I don't mind perfectly hearing the game. Oh yeah, no problem. I can decrease this a little bit. Let's see. There we go. That should do it. That should be better. But no, yeah, Code Geass is so good. Man, okay, where was I before we got on? How did we get on this tangent? Let's see here. Dragon games into anime spice. Oh, yeah, okay, yeah, I see what we got here. But yeah, I do really regret that Scalebound didn't come out. It was one game I was actually very hyped for at the time. And I'm not gonna lie, I was very disappointed it never came out. And a part of me still dreams of what could be. You know, what could have been if only Scalebound had been allowed to release. But we don't live in that universe, unfortunately. Alright. Come on. Let's go. Give me my weapon. Give me magic. Magic point. Alright, slice and dice. Alright, got here with 4 healing potions. Great. So I think we're going to take the temple today. Let's do this. What hyped you about Code Geass as much, really? Because it's a good show. It can't get as hyped as you do. It was one of my first, like, big intro anime. For one thing, I have a lot of nostalgia for it. But that's not just it either. Lelouch was, like, a really well-written character. He was flawed and very, very much an anti-hero, which at the time I was somewhat, you know, not necessarily new, but still somewhat novel to me. However, I like Lelouch because he's a desperately flawed... he's one of those master planners who's also really flawed in the sense that he thinks he knows everything. And he knows enough to nearly know everything. Like, he is a strategic genius who's almost always in control. But the show also gives him plenty of rivals that are just as intelligent, just as cunning. And since he is, you know, out of resources compared to them, even with Geass, it turns into this much more wider spread conflict. It also just has a really solid ending that bookends a lot of the themes with Lelouch and Suzaku, and Suzaku's guilt and his desire to be a better person, and Lelouch's desire to make a world where Nanali can be safe. Like, it's just a really well-made, like, thriller. It has supernatural elements with the Geass, but also sci-fi elements with the mechs. It kind of hits both those, like, not narrative, like, genre spots for me, which is really good because I'm a fan of both. Which is always, when you find something that's like sci-fi fantasy, that kind of thing is always super cool. Oh my gosh, this man is so freaking annoying. This man right here is the worst freaking asshole in this game. Alright. Keep firing, keep firing. Holy shit. Okay, well, there go all my healing potions. Outplayed Lelouch completely. The concept of Zero as the liberator of side of justice. Euphemia set a situation. That is the thing. That's one of the reasons I think they were supposed to record her. Euphemia essentially defanged Zero. Yeah, well, she basically said, Zero, put your money where your mouth is. She basically said, hey, Zero, if you actually want what's best for Japan, I have made a situation that is better for Japan than rebellion. I have made a situation where it is better. Because Lelouch essentially at the time was, yes, he had a fondness for Japan because Japan had been where he and his sister were sent to be hostages and they were treated well. So he has a respect for the people who live there, and he does care about some people who live in Japan. So he does care about Japan, but he also really wants his revenge at that point in the series. Like, revenge is the dominant goal in it. It isn't actually Japan's safety. And Euphemia actually calls him out on that to an extent. And Zero has to essentially reevaluate his priorities, and for the first time as a leader, his interest, what he personally wants, is not what's best for his men. And he has to set aside his own hatred in service of what might be better for everyone else involved. It's probably the only time in the series where he actually wonders if he'll get his revenge, or if, you know, like, he wants Euphemia to shoot him, but he also knows she won't. You know, he's come up with a plan because that's his thing. He'll come up with a plan to get out of any situation, but he can't bring himself to do it. Even with the Gios, he tells Euphemia about the Gios. I don't think you realize this. Euphemia is like the only person in the series he was honest to about the Gios. She was literally the first person he told, and it went horribly wrong. Think about that. Hurry, hurry, hurry. Up, up, up. It wouldn't last either. On the surface, it's good. In the long run, it wouldn't hold up. No, because Euphemia's main trait is that she's naive. She believes in the inherent goodness of people, but the Britannian Empire is not built on that. It's like a very brutal meritocracy, where even royal children can be thrown away if they so much as dare to step out of line for a moment and show themselves as less than perfect. Like, Lelouch was like a genius prodigy of a son, who clearly was like one of Charles' like better commander children, or had potential to be. And he was sent away because he was mildly angry in public. Like, he was politely angry in public, and made a few bad lines. Now, granted, there was the whole thing with the mother and Charles wanting him out of the way of V, but that's a whole different thing. Euphemia, though, was protected by Cornelia, so unlike Lelouch, she wasn't as cold. But the thing that Euphemia didn't get is because she was protected by her sister, she had essentially believed that more people in their empire could be like that. But the way the Britannian Empire was set up, the way their nobility was set up, was basically around best person win. I mean, like, even Charles was like, we literally, me and my brother grew up in a war of successors, where the only reason we survived is because we looked out for each other, and one of us became a super immortal with magic powers. Like, again, it was a brutal, cutthroat, like, time to live in. And even after Charles took the control, he basically made his children compete against each other in a death competition to see who became heir, which is really messed up. And Euphemia has been mostly sheltered from that because Cornelia really wants to protect her. But as a result, she doesn't understand that her country is not going to react. The solution she's proposing is disarm Zero, and she's trying to make sure that the most people are going to be happy and safe in the short term. What she fails to realize, though, is in the long term, Britannia is going to do what Britannia does and be a colonializing imperialist power that wants to conquer the rest of the world, which is not going to end well for people who live in the rest of the world. It's interesting because you see the parts where she's also where she kind of makes sense, because yeah, a lot of people are going to die in the war, and quite frankly, at the time, from her perspective, without knowing about Lelouch's Gios, let's be real here, if Lelouch didn't have his Gios, there's a really good chance he wouldn't have been able to get as far as he did. So from someone who didn't know about Gios, it seems like he's setting them up to lose. Because Euphemia, like Lelouch, knows the resources that Britannia has at its disposal. Now, Lelouch knows about Gios too, so he's able to see that they can win. But from Euphemia's perspective, even if she knew that her plan wouldn't last long term, she also knows enough about Britannia's military to know that they will not win. And from her perspective, letting all those people die would be a horrible, horrible loss of life. which is noble, but also it's a short-term thinking. She wants to stop violence and death in the short term, which is good. Lelouch wants long-term revenge, which, while it will lead to good things in the long term, can also lead him to making rash and dangerous decisions in the short term. We saw this regularly. I mean, remember his first duel with Cornelia? Cornelia basically lured him into a trap where he killed their brother, like in a same situation where he killed their brother, and then nearly unmasked him in front of her entire army. Because he was arrogant. He wanted to get his revenge. I forgot she existed, the Immortal Witch. Oh, V2. I mean, not V2, C2. C2. V2 was the older brother of Charles. C2, yes, C2 was great. Also, did anybody else remember about the weird... I actually watched a few episodes of Code Geass recently. The ending, I watched it again recently. Did anybody else remember all the Pizza Hut crossover stuff? Like, there was so much Pizza Hut in that show. I had completely forgotten. Dude, the amount of... They have Pizza Hut all over the place. The logo for Pizza Hut is, like, embedded in the show's DNA. And the love of pizza is, like, a big thing for C2. God, that was... I had completely forgotten about that part, but man, they did advertisement different back then. Oh, boy, oh, boy. Is this a shortcut back to the main temple we started at? Oh, please let this be... Please, I beg of thee, let there be a resting place here. Alright. Hello, person. Let's talk to you.
I heard from a Taoist... They call it,
White jade dumpling.
If only I could have it... I heard they call it...
Oh, you can have a taste. I want to give you some, but you're not asking me to give you some. Oh, well. But yeah, V2, C2. I keep saying V2 and then immediately correction. One of Lucius' video spreads is, aside from Euphemia's death, the collateral death of Shirley Fowler. Oh yeah, that messed him up hard. I remember how he like wiped Shirley's mind too, to make her forget, to like take away all the pain. There were only a few people in his whole life that Lelouch might have been willing to set aside the war from, and I think Shirley was like legitimately someone who, if Geass hadn't gotten involved, she might have been able to stop him from going on his revenge quest. Like, he had always planned to try and eventually worm his way into a position of power and authority and then get revenge on his father and the royal family. But I genuinely think that if Shirley's death hadn't happened, he might have quit. I don't think C2 would have let him. I think C2 would have inevitably done something to cause it because she needed him to stop Charles and his mother's plan. That was like a thing. But I do think that if Shirley's father had not died, I think she might have been able to stop him. That moment was the moment that really cemented this war would have personal consequences for him. That is the other thing too. Code Geass has actual consequences for its character. Lelouch loses basically everything. Like, yes, he wins, and he does succeed in his goal to an extent, but like, it's that question from Endgame, right? What did it cost you? Everything. And I feel way more for Lelouch than I do for Thanos, actually. Because it actually did cost him. It cost him everything. It cost him his loved ones. And even in the end, when the handful of them came to the realization about the truth of his nature and what he was doing, he still literally basically made himself the world's villain for the people he cared about. He gave up literally all that you can give out, which is kind of nuts. Like, there are very few characters who had to lose that much in a story, especially a protagonist. And yet the ending is also weirdly optimistic and hopeful. Like, you know, people will be shitty, but I do, like, the main message of the story in the end is, I think if we could all just get rid of our hatred for just a moment, we could get a bit of clarity, and humanity could move forward and become better. It's a very weirdly hopeful message at the end, which you wouldn't expect for a show that can get as like dark at times as Code Geass does, but it is a very hopeful show. It stared into the abyss and just looked away. It didn't blink, it looked, it saw, and then it decided, you know, fuck that, I'm gonna go try anyway. Which is admirable, and honestly, I think I'd like to see more shows that have that kind of perspective, just to like see it. He also stayed true to his core theme, his creed. Only ones who killed her was... That was literally one of the first things. It was literally the end line of Season 1. Oh my god, that was actually one of the scenes... I think that was the episode that hooked me, too. The first episode, when he was like, only ones who kill are those who are prepared to be killed. The only ones who should kill are those who are prepared to be killed. Also, on top of all of this, Code Geass is one of the best dubs of all time. The Code Geass dub is how you do a dubbing. Dear God, I can't watch the sub. The dub is just too iconic. Yeah, and Lelouch did stay true to his core principles. He wavers at times, but in the end, he stays true to the core of who he is. He's weirdly honorable for someone who mostly tricks and deceives his enemies. It really is true. Like, he's a very honorable person in a lot of ways. He tends to fight dirty, but not in a way that, like, ever makes him feel like a villain, necessarily. I still remember that, the hostage situation where he, like, you know, he makes it, they make him think that, what is it, Cornelia is, like, staking out the terrorist thing with Yuffie, and the building blows up, and they blame Zero, and then Zero reveals himself with the hostages, and the Black Knights do their big, like, grand entrance. And she's like, damn it, we can't shoot him, the hostages are right there. We will look like absolute monsters if we shoot the people who just rescued a bunch of our citizens. Like, again, it's one of those moments where it's like he's weirdly honorable while being he started on this content with paying for all the blood he would shed. Yeah, that is also one of the things I can respect about Lelouch. He doesn't chicken away from the consequences. He made a Faustian bargain and actually accepted the consequences for the Faustian bargain. Like, think about that for a second. How many characters do you know who actually pay the price for the Faustian bargain they make with a supernatural entity? Like, they don't try and trick their way out of it. They go up and they pay the price. That's kind of nutty. I mean, he doesn't kill C2, but C2 has decided that this will be his price. She's decided that his death at the end will be the price for using his Geass. And this is his atonement. And it's like, yeah, but how many of them actually pay a horrible price for the power they gain? Legitimately. It's one of those moments that sets it apart. I'm not complaining all that much because clearly you're enjoying it, and I can easily tear apart this joy. Not that I want to, but dubbing, I must be allowed. Not at all. I've seen so much good dubs recently. Then check out Code Geass, dude. I mean, you have checked out Code Geass. A dub is just so good. And you have to understand, it's also the time period in which it was made. For the time, especially. Like, when Code Geass came out, I think it might have just been the best dub. Hands down. There aren't a lot of dubs on its level, even now, and, like, back then, no contest. That was it. That was the dub. That was the dub. Check out watching animation dubbed by default. Fair, fair. And I said you've probably seen it already, so, you know. I didn't know for sure if you were watching sub or dub, but, like, you did mention you watched up to season 2. Ow, goddammit. Crystal Lizard Trap. Crystal Lizard Trap. Damn it. I hate this. Oh, shit. Get him. Get him. Little gremlins. Got it. Alright, we got some level up material too. So we might actually be able to level up next time we go. Wow, I'm taking my first health potion. Okay, we made some decent progress. Let's find another boss and kick the monstrosity's ass. If it has an ass, I mean. It might just have multiple flailing limbs. Oh, shoot. Okay, got the items. But yeah, so I feel very passionately about Code Geass. It's up there with like Full Metal Alchemist. It's one of the anime I don't even recommend. Not because I don't like it, but because as you can see, I'm very passionate about it. Oh man. It is not easy. It needs to be relimmed to fix the lip flaps at the end while keeping the same music. Code Geass is good, no no's. But I've seen so much I can't melt over Code Geass. Fair. I also watched anime in like the 2010s. Was when I started, or really started. I mean, technically I've watched Pokemon, like, forever. Take down the man-eating demons of Playos. So, for me at the time, it was like, especially growing up on things like Pokemon and Digimon, which I like, but also, you can't deny those dubs are rough. But like having seen this after, like as one of my first major introductions to anime, it was kind of nutty. Oh, we've got a boss fight. Looky, looky. What am I looking at actually? Oh wow, that is a holy. Okay, this game has some amazing monster design. That is a creepy ass face. Oh boy. I didn't get time to watch any more Black Lagoon. I plan to try and finish up the series this weekend when I have some more time. So don't worry, I should have it done soon. I didn't get any time to watch it today or yesterday though. Yesterday I went to Magic, played around with Commander. Alright. Oh shit, I'm gonna pound it. Let's see if I can get this thing down something easier. We need to try and build it for a fire. Let's try and build it for a fire starter. Alright. Okay. Fireball! That's a decent damage. We gotta build it up though. I do like that they make you build up your spells a bit. Like, you can just, like, fire soul arrows to win. Oh, yeah, the Lagoon has pretty good... Yes, Lagoon has very good healing stuff, absolutely. Read the manga Lady Knight and the Beast Fairy Child. Okay. Oh, also, actually, so I actually recently watched this, like, ones to watch video from the Mother's Basement for, like, this year's anime. There are some, like, crazy things I need to get up on. One of them actually was the... Oh god, what was one of the ones I really... It was this, like, weird Lovecraftian horror that actually looks like a scary anime. It looks like an actual piece of horror anime. Basically, it reminded me a bit of Shiki, actually. Not, like, in the plot, but, like, the location and setting a bit. Essentially, it's this town, like, way out in the middle of nowhere, Japan. Oh, shoot. Burn, baby, burn! Oh, yes, I got fire damage on. Oh my god, someone was doing it. Oh my god, I just gotta wait. Fireball! Oh my god! Oh, first try! Look at that, first try! Story is cute, but dear god, the manga really knows how to create body horror monsters. Okay, I'll definitely check that out. One of them, it was like this, I forget what the name of it was, the anime I'm talking about, though, the really horrifying one. Basically, the gimmick is there were these, like, two, like, friends, air quote friends. They're both boys, and they live in this, like, small town in the middle of nowhere. And one of them leaves for, like, a month, and he, like, goes on this trip to the mountains. And when he comes back, his friend immediately kind of notices something is really off about him. And he comes to this horrifying realization that, you're not my friend, are you? And then his face, like, half melts into, like, a weird tentacle monster. And he's like, how? I thought I mimicked him perfectly. And he decides not to tell anyone, even as the murders start piling up. And the thing that seems to like him, or at least it knows about him because of his friend's memories, which may have eaten him. And it kind of remembers what it's like to like him, and it finds that feeling interesting, and so it's this like weird horror, almost like horror yandere Lovecraftian nightmare anime from what I've seen. I don't know much more than the basic premise and like a few scenes I've seen of it. It looks beautifully animated, and I'm kind of interested just to see where this premise is going, but like, damn. Just like that one scene I've seen where he's like, you're not character's name. I forget the character's name, but it was like, and like half his face like melts, and I'm just like, oh, what the hell? Okay. So yeah, if you want to like find some good anime, I definitely recommend checking out Mother's Basement's ones to watch list. He had a lot of good things to say about the anime coming out this year. I have so much I need to catch up on. There's so many good things coming out right now. I love it. So much good content to talk about. I feel overwhelmed almost. I am still working on my Claire Obscure review. Actually, I've been finding some interesting interviews about how they, why they chose Unreal Engine and stuff like that. There are a few more obscure anime that are intricately crafted that no one talks about. Yeah, yeah, I know. There are so many, like, weird one-off things, too, that you... Have you ever heard about Shiki? Shiki is the anime I love to talk to anyone that'll listen about, because I discovered it, like, on my own when I was watching, like, DBZ Online back in the day. Man, that show is good. It is deeply unsettling horror. It's vampires. You're gonna figure that out immediately. It's not subtle about the fact that it's vampires, but, like... It's vampires in a way that is still horrifying, because it's the horror of the human condition. Mushishi. Yeah, you show me Mushishi. That one has like an almost otherworldly kind of vibe to it. It's not necessarily horrifying, I don't think, but it's a beautifully crafted world with almost like a haunting beauty. Like, it has almost like a haunting beauty, like staring at like a elven ghost in the woods, gesturing you forward. Like, am I gonna get kidnapped by the Fae? But also, wow, I can't look away. Oh, that rhymed. Am I about to get kidnapped by the Fae? I don't know, but I can't look away. Don't know what to talk about, then talk about Silksong. I haven't played Silksong yet, though, so I don't know. I've talked to you about it. It comes from a good studio that clearly is doing good work. Natsume's Book of Friends. I haven't seen Natsume's Book of Friends. I might have to check that out. I will have to add it to my list, though, so I need to make it clear. It probably won't happen in the next few months, because I have a huge list of stuff to get through. So I couldn't get any more... I didn't find a way to keep going from there. Oh. Okay, what is this guy? I don't think he was here earlier, or my new area I haven't been to before. Yes, I am going to be a cheap shot of you. Okay, sounds cool, sounds cool. Oh my god, I can hide! I can hide! Haha, From Software, I can indeed hide from your monster. Oh, did you get stuck? Sorry, bud. Also, I am, like, nearly dead. Look at this. Hey, guys! Look at him, he's walking on thin air. Look at him go! Look at him go! I'm just trying to like get my mana back so I can start blasting him. If my mana shots can reach him, actually. You know, I might just abandon him there. Leave him to rot. Okay, these guys are like non-hostile. Oh shit, he's back, he's back, he's back. Frick, frick, frick. Oh damn it. Okay, I got it back. Oh, juice. Oh, there we go, there we go. Got it, juice. Frick, frick. Oh, fuck. Okay. Have you ever tried dog food? And what's your thoughts? No, I have not tried dog food before. Why would you eat dog food? Why? Also, my second question is, do you eat the dry food or the wet food? Because one of those is far more disgusting than the other, I'm assuming. Like, what is this? What is this question, Nerd Dragon? I'm concerned about you, friend. What is this question and why did you ask it? I am deeply concerned about you. Oh. I was a kid. Texture and smell was nice. Okay, we need to... Nerd Dragon might need intervention.
Needs help.
And kill another bird. I don't believe it. I hope you understand why I don't believe it. Oh, shit. The fall damage got me in the end. It wasn't even an enemy, it was the fall damage in the end. How the mighty have fallen. Get it? Oh man, oh man, oh man. Never been heavily advertised in the West. I mean, to be fair, it depends on when it came out for me, because while I do look to advertising to an extent now, when I was a kid, I used to troll online websites that had collections of anime, and no, I will not specify. I was on DBZ Online at one point, but that website had been taken down for years. God, I remember back when I had to, like, let a video buffer for a few minutes before I could start it sometimes. Ugh, that sucked. Anyway, Sims 2 pets on DS character could not afford a fridge, so it was dog food for him. What? How is this my chat now? How is this what the chat has become? Left turn to dog food. Surprised with apparently plenty of people have been trying different types of dog food. Bone tastes like chalk, so not a good recommendation. I ain't Susie. Susie only eats chalk because she can't eat anything else. Her parents don't feed her. Oh man, oh man. I haven't actually played Deltarune. To be fair, I still haven't finished Undertale, which I know is like a damning thing to say on the internet. I feel deeply ashamed for not having finished Undertale yet. I've gotten like halfway through, and then I just kind of like got distracted with other stuff. I need to go back and finish it. Alright. We're opening tons of shortcuts, so I do like the interconnectedness of these areas. Like, we're opening up lots of shortcuts. Lots of injured enemies, too. Alright. Well, I haven't picked items over here, so I clearly haven't been in this area that much. I haven't explored over here because all the items. That is one of the fun things about Souls-likes. If you're ever unsure if you've been over here or not, just like look around at the items. Now, one thing I will say about these areas, the level design for this game, I do think the levels are a little samey. I'm having trouble like keeping track of where I'm going. Which, granted, I have that trouble with some other Souls games too. It's not just this one, but like usually I can tell where I am in Dark Souls, you know. Whereas a lot of the areas are like wooden scaffolding over like what used to be a Chinese building. So I keep hitting the square button to cast, and I shouldn't be hitting that button. Climb down. Is there anything down there for me? There's another door. Okay. Buy yourself a job. I have dogs in my house, and no, just no, I'm not interested. Nerdo, please don't do that to yourself. They put a lot of stuff in there that humans definitely probably shouldn't eat. I mean, it's not probably super bad for you, but like, you probably shouldn't eat dog food, okay? I don't know why I have to say that. 7 Seasons Ramble. Wait, really? Oh, I thought they were talking about an older show. Holy shit, it's coming out right now, and oh wow, it really hasn't been advertised in the West. Like, really hasn't. Damn. Like, there's obscure, and then there's anime I haven't heard about in the modern era. That's been going on that long? Gross. No. I will stick to fish and meat and rice. And sushi. And lots of other delicious things, like pasta. And also chocolate, to which that which is toxic to dogs. I couldn't imagine. Imagine, you know what? I actually just thought was like, what if you had like somebody who's a werewolf and like one of the weird facts about werewolves in your urban fantasy world is that they are allergic to chocolate. Like they will get horribly sick from eating chocolate, not just in the wolf form, but like in their human form too. It's like you get permanent debuff. You can't eat chocolate anymore. That would actually make it feel more like a curse, to be honest, with the way that modern werewolves just get all the good shit. Like, it used to be, oh, you turn into a mindless beast, and now it's like, you turn into a beast, but, like, you'll recognize friends and family members, and then sometimes, like, oh, no, you just turn into a wolf whenever you feel like it, and you get complete control. Okay, I think we're making progress here. We're heading towards a jungle area. No. No. Hell no. Not even as a drawing. Not even as a drawing. Season 1 released back in 2008. Oh, wow, so that's, like, right during my, like, a little bit after I got into anime, which means it would have like solidified in mid-season and stuff. I haven't heard about it. To be fair, it does sound like the name of it sounds a bit like a kid's show. So I'm not saying it is a kid's show. I'm just saying the name sounds like something you would expect from a kid's show. So maybe I just glossed over it when I'm looking through like long lists of stuff. Weird though, because I feel like I would have seen it at least in like some of the newer release areas. I mean, I don't catch everything, but I catch a lot of stuff. Or at least I'm aware of a decent amount of stuff, you know? I'll have to give it a shot eventually. At least try out the first season and see what happens. Alright, we got level ups. Let's go. Let's level up, level up, level up. Alright, let's increase that sword mastery even further. Morris. You never heard about Mushishi either. True, true. There's always room to learn about more stuff. There is always room to learn about more things. Alright. I think I'm going to add more to my magic stat, because I have a lot of moments where I'm like just nearly killing someone and not quite. So we're going to stack these up. Give my pump that magic stat up. Pump it up. Pump it up. We got the magic stat up to 30 right now with base 7 plus 23. Let's go. Alright, so we've got this big like forest area. This is definitely a change of pace from like all the rickety, and we're back to a Chinese village. You know, I really thought, ooh, this is actually kind of pretty. Okay, this is actually something new. Look at this. We got this nice like water garden. This is a really cool place. You got vibrant colors with some of the trees scattered throughout, so it's not too much. I guess they're like the mercury trees or whatever. We've got these beautiful little water garden area. Lots of explosive pots everywhere. Okay, I can vibe with this. I can vibe with this. Haha! Take that. Also, I probably should have gone back and, like, actually reset my health, but screw it, I'm already here. Might as well keep going. We benefited from originally being a dub-only anime fan only early on, pointing me towards mini anime I wouldn't have found if not looking for dubs. I was a dub-only for a while, too. It's one of the reasons I got into Code Geass, but I saw Code, and I was like, I was a Code Lyoko fan, so obviously, like, that spoke to me a bit. I also watched Code Breaker. I'm not sure if you ever heard about that one. It's about these guys who are, like, it's about a group of characters who are all, like, special, weird, metahuman assassins. And she finds this one person who has metahuman powers, like, don't work on. And so he ends up, like, essentially sticking around in between missions. Except it's eventually revealed their powers turn on them in the end. Like, and the more they use their powers, they suffer from, like, drawbacks whenever they use their abilities too much. Like, one of them turns into a child, others get, like, cramps. You might have to, like, compulsively do something over and over again. Darker Than Black is actually another good show. If you've never seen Darker Than Black, I recommend it. It's not really a complete show. It has a lot of flaws, but I think it's a very fun show. It has powers where every power has a very specific downside you have to pay. You essentially have to pay a cost every time you use the power. And it's very random. I hated that antagonist a lot. I watched that one too. Hated that antagonist lost. Fair. If you haven't seen Darker Than Black, though, I do really enjoy Darker Than Black. it's more of a vibe than a story for me, but I really like the power system. Essentially, there was this like weird gate, and these people got powers in exchange for A, losing their emotions, and B, or not losing all their emotions, but they lost their ability. Their emotions are essentially very muted, and their minds are more logically and emotionally driven. In addition, they also have a price. So whenever they use their power, they have to do something very specific, or their bodies like start to turn on them, and eventually their bodies just compulsively do the thing. It's not really explained what happens if they're entirely stopped from doing it, but it clearly isn't, you know, good for them. And this one guy ends up not having to pay a price for his power, but that's because he got it from his sister. Somehow, it's very unclear, and the lore is, like, really confusing. But basically, aside from... He's, like, one of the only people who doesn't have to use the price for his power, but his sister is probably paying it because she's, like, fused with him or something. There's one of those antagonists that proves the point completely and actually have a plan that might work, but comes with the cost of protagonists that aren't willing to accept. Yeah. Are you talking about Code Breaker or Darker Than Black? I forget if Darker Than Black. I forget what Darker Than Black's antagonist was trying to do, honestly. But the Code Breaker, they were literally just trying to like, oh, Code. Yeah, like. It's like, hey, maybe just try not to... If you could just not feed puppies into the wood chipper while you're trying to save the world, that'd be great, bud. But the protagonists just aren't willing to accept the specific cost. Always kind of rankles, because it's like, you guys could really just solve this. I feel like there's a way for you to have a solution here. It does suck. What was one of the other ones? Let's see. But no, Darker Than Black is pretty fun. I mostly think it's fun because all the people have really different powers, and it almost feels like they feel like they're metahumans and more like they're warlocks who made a really shitty deal with a patron. Like a lot of them seem to actively hate their cost. Like it wasn't just random things; these are things that are actively there to annoy them. This one guy, every time he uses his powers, he has to find a bunch of pebbles on the ground. He'll compulsively search the ground for pebbles, and he has to lay them out in a grid of like 10 by 10. He has to count them as he does it one by one. He has to lay them out in like lines over and over and over and count them. And if he doesn't do it, he just like cannot think of anything else until he does it, and his body will just start doing it on its own. Another lady hates drinking. She hates the taste of alcohol, but every time she uses her powers, she has to take a chug of a fucking sake bottle or a beer bottle. It really is one of those, you made a really, really inconvenient deal with a fae that was specifically decided to make your life miserable that day, didn't you? And it's kind of funny, too. The world itself is more interesting than the actual overarching plot. Like, the individual missions they go on, because essentially the superhumans, I forget whatever they're called, essentially are all over the world, and they're essentially, you know, agents and assassins because they have little morals or sympathy. Also one of those antagonists you want to succeed because the current system is so broken, the antagonist was the only one who have a solid plan. Yeah, and the antagonist ends up being kind of right that the system is bullshit too. And it turns out the system is bullshit because it literally, the people deciding the fate of the world are people exactly like the antagonist, who is, by his own admission, a really shitty person. Like, what do you even say at that point? He was just right. Like, there's not even ifs and buts about it. He is objectively correct. And the later antagonists, too, all have their own points. Like, it's just, like, his brain is essentially just added to the hive mind so they can auto-correct so they can try and get themselves right. And also, the entire system's point, the whole idea of bottling up your stress until it eventually consumes you, clearly doesn't work. It really clearly does not work well. It just makes people more likely to get like that. And drives them to, like, clamp down on all the parts of themselves that they're afraid of, instead of dealing with those things in a healthy way. It's a world where getting therapy is actually a stigma, because that means your color is probably not doing great. Like, imagine getting therapy in the world of Psychopath, like if you were living in Japan. It'd be like, everyone would be talking about how, oh my gosh, you hear? She has therapy. You know what I mean? She's almost certainly about to go, you know, about to turn black or whatever. Like, her criminality score is probably really, really high. Honestly, it's even more dubious God, what was that? What was the sci-fi show about like magical oracles that could predict the future? If I remember, what was that really good sci-fi, the classic sci-fi movie about, not so really good, but classic sci-fi movie about oracles who could predict the future and how it's not necessarily set in stone and perspective. God, what was it? What was it called? It's driving me insane now. When I know something and I just can't quite. Minority Report. That's it. It was Minority Report. That's what I was thinking of. But yeah. So absolutely, it's kind of like that. But if they didn't even have oracles, it was literally just emotional AI modeling. Imagine if somebody decided today that they were going to decide whether or not you were a criminal based on how an AI thought you felt. The worst part is, I can see people being on board with that, and they need to watch that show to understand why it's stupid. They really do. Ugh. All these cautionary tales that are actually, like, kind of needed. I actually feel like more people need to watch Black Mirror, because I feel like every day we inch closer to being a real-life Black Mirror episode. It's starting to get to me a little bit, I'm not gonna lie. Like, it's actually starting to worry me. How blindly we seem to be walking the path of Black Mirror with just like zero self-awareness or irony. It's truly terrible. Okay, where am I supposed to go from here? There's gotta be something I'm missing. Right? Oh wait, here's another path. Oh, I found it. Found the way forward. Nice. Oof. Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. Here we go. Also, the Lilo and Stitch movie is actually doing pretty well. The review of it is doing decently. I'm actually really happy about that. It's almost up to 300 views. I'm so excited. Oh shit. God damn it. Oh, shoot, 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 shoot. Please don't teleport near me. Alright, I want to get a big open area with her. Oh boy. It was a cautionary tale, not a manual instruction. Hey DJ! Good to see you again. How are you doing, my friend? Are you playing Silksong, DJ? Because it seems like most of the world is at this point. Or most of the gaming world. Oh, not gonna be here long, lots of family stuff, also not in the mood. Look who's there, the local legend, Silksong. I think I've heard of that. To be frank, variable, not gonna take it away from the quality of video. Some traffic comes with me. I just want to see another person crap over a movie. I mean, that wasn't about the live-action version, though. I was very clearly talking about the Lilo and Stitch original. I wasn't talking about the live-action one. Although I will admit, there's probably at least like a few people who looked on it thinking I was talking about the original. Although I think that my title was pretty positive, so you know. What was the exact word? By the way, run for your life, DJ. Fafnir is obsessed with Silksong. What using? I am not. I've been talking about so much other stuff. Don't listen to him. He's lying. He's lying. We were just got into a discussion about goddamn fucking code breakers and what? Scalebound and Code Geass, which I ranted about. Ayo. 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 Oh my god. Well, I killed my inner demons. I've solved my madness. I've killed my own inner demon. I am victorious. I am not insane. You're insane for thinking I'm insane. The fucking madness meter. Cringe. Lolamo. LOL Lamau. LOL Lamau. Alrighty. Full-grown red Mercurial. Well, I still love how we're injecting ourselves with goddamn mercury and like giving us superpowers. To be before we knew how bad mercury was for you. Imagine not knowing mercury was poisonous. injecting it directly into your veins. Never watched Devil as a Part-Timer Season 2 because I already knew it wouldn't be the same. Because all that you made the original great would be missing. I actually haven't seen Devil as a Part-Timer before. I've heard about it. I've seen clips from it. I just never, like, grabbed onto it as something I wanted to. It's where, like, the Demon Lord gets, like, banished to, like, our reality because he got defeated or whatever and escapes to, like, build up his power again. But then he, like, ends up having to work at McDonald's during that period of time. I don't know the details of the plot. Like, I literally just know it's about a Demon Lord who ends up having to work at McDonald's while he tries to restore himself to his full former glory or whatever. To be fair, I felt a bit of a similar way about One Punch Man Season 2. I really liked One Punch Man's sense of humor, don't get me wrong, but I also loved its animation. You know me. I'm all about that animation. And so when it wasn't as good, the dub of the first season was incredible. Ooh, good dubs are praiseworthy. Very praiseworthy things, a good dub. Okay, let's see, what do we have here? Crystallized material. Let's pop some of these and get some more mercury poisoning. Okay. Got some knockoff bone stuff. I really have a lot of items in here. Fully restores HP. 1 of 5 can be carried. So I'm not going to be seeing many of those. Well, we have a lot of, like, full restores. I probably should have been using those in boss fights, but I'm always, like, wary of using, consumables that you only have, like, 1 or 2 of. I really am just, like, min-maxing my magic right now, though. I am just on the fast track to becoming a goddamn Ultra Mage. I probably should put a bit more into... I don't have any red mercury essence, I don't think. I could use 1 level to get, like, more health. Maybe? I don't know. Should I go for more health? Damage from wielding one-handed swords. I don't really need sword damage increase. Sword is basically something I do in between magic spells. Point is, for the longest time, everyone wanted a Season 2 of Devil as a Part-Timer, much like Spice and Wolf. It wasn't just a 5-year gap between seasons. Yeah, I had a similar thing with Blue Exorcist. I think the Kyoto arc was fine. It was pretty good. But it didn't have the same energy. Although they did kind of recover in the last few seasons they've had. When we started getting to the Illuminati shit. It's been getting to the good shit recently. So I have been on board with it as of late. And I do want to see it continue because the manga is going places. I thought the manga was about to wind down to an ending, but Blue Exorcist is going places. We're going to have some shit. We might get a time skip. Oh my god, I'm so happy for it. I'm so happy. Blue Exorcist, I wrote Blue Exorcist off. It's like never coming back after that weird hiatus thing. And then like the anime only ending. And now we have all this shit. And I'm just like, oh my god, Blue Exorcist, you made it, buddy. You made it. I was content with the manga. I'm not going to lie. Manga was sweet. I was content just having that. But now we have more. And I'm like, yes, I need even more. You gave me a taste. And now I see the future. I see what could be. And I desire it. Alright, so I've gone that way. I feel like I'm going in circles. I feel like I'm going mad, but I feel like... This is just an island, though, so this can't be the way forward. It just can't, right? Unless... Am I supposed to, like, blow this up? When you get lost in a Souls game, you're like, alright, how do I progress the plot? How do I make myself go further? Arika was planned to have a different ending from the manga he did be designed for some reason. Of course, the Devil's a part-timer. I was proven right. Hey, fun fact I learned, by the way. Do you know how long Oda thought One Piece would last? Do you know? His original plan was 5 years. He thought the manga would last 5 years. I don't think I've ever heard a mangaka less accurately predict how long their story is going to go on for. Like, imagine you're like, yeah, I'll do this for the next 5 years, and then it balloons into the monstrosity that it is now, and it's like, Oda, buddy, you've been going for 30 years. Or, no, not 30 years. He started in 1997. One Piece is approaching its 30th year anniversary, though. Holy shit. Oh. Wait, did he start in 97 or was it like 98? I forget. Actually, I need to double check that. I think it was 97 that the manga started. I might be wrong. I do know it's probably going to be approaching it's probably going to have a 30th year anniversary before it finishes. Because they're still in the Elbath arc, and we've still got, like, the final war arc after that. And we've got both the main villains to deal with. Like, there's so much ground to cover. It's Oda, so that's normal. Alright, I've been here before. I just want to know where to go. I want to find another boss tonight. I feel like I'm in the zone and I can crush another boss between my character's thighs or something. It'd be awesome. I can make blood go everywhere. I want to win. Lou is gathering warriors. Yes, we know. Alright, so this is where I killed that previous boss. Maybe I overlooked something and there's some kind of exit from this arena. Spice and Wolf, and I will admit, but in regards to Devil May... Well, that's the thing, right? Like, just because you were wrong about one thing doesn't mean you're wrong all the time. Like, it is good to be wary of things when they have a really long hiatus. For example, I was blindly hyped for Cyberpunk, but then when I started seeing footage of it, I'm like, ooh, this might not have been worth having Keanu Reeves in. I know that Cyberpunk apparently got one of those, we fixed it after the fact kind of treatments, but I don't do that, usually. I just don't. If you're going to release a broken, buggy game, you don't get to just fix it after the fact. I get that that's a thing, and if you like that, that's fine. I'm not going to take you down for it, but I do feel like releasing a broken game was like, it really sullied, what was it, Project, oh god, what was their name? What was the studio that did, Witcher 3? It really sullied their reputation, though. So I feel like Cyberpunk really, like, everybody was, like, used to be super hyped about them, and now they're kind of bummed. Also, even the best things can fuck shit up. I mean, look at the Dragon Prince, for example. That show was peak. It started out messy, but by season 3 it was peak. And, oh god, that just got hammered off the side of this. That hurt. That just hurt. That hurt right there. That was some bullshit. I got knocked in the face by that. I was not prepared. Didn't think they would react that quick. I thought I'd be able to get off the ladder. I was wrong. Oh shit, where'd I go? However, is Cyberpunk this Cyberpunk? Also, creators have been seeking out Synthwave openly pre-premiere. It's sad too because they've clearly put a lot of work into their setting. You know how I know that? The anime based on the game is like fucking fire. It's one of the best things I've ever seen. If you have not seen Cyberpunk the anime, oh boy, you're gonna like that. You're in for a treat. That thing was peak right there. That is some Cyberpunk I can get behind. Seriously, it was kind of insane how good it was. There's a time limit for anime to get a sequel season. I mean, I'm not going to deny that that kind of does fit as a general rule. I know exceptions to the rule. Like I said, Blue Exorcist is an exception in my opinion. But also, Blue Exorcist is also an exact example of this. It had an anime-only season, and so it kind of just like hand-waved and said, read the manga. It didn't actually have a character say read the manga, but like you need to read the manga to know what happened in the episode they retconned. Otherwise, you won't understand what's going on. Or you might understand what's going on, but you'll be a little confused about things. And characters not being or doing what they're supposed to be doing. Really? You didn't like it? What did you like about that? That was, like, really fun. I mean, also tragic, too. It ended very tragically. But, like, it was a fun tragedy. Animation was goddamn perfect. I know you guys probably get tired of me saying that, but I do like my pretty pictures. I do indeed like very pretty pictures that move. Wait, where am I? Oh god, I forgot where I went. I forgot which direction I went in. And now I'm just like hopelessly lost again. Damn it, I just found the way out of here. Was it the boss room? Want a sequel season for No Game No Life. I disagree. The people who made that great likely won't be there, and if it hasn't gotten another season by now, it shouldn't. Again, it's weird. I mean, Evangelion got like sequel stuff years after the fact, and some of that was pretty good. I think I haven't seen all of it, but I've seen a decent enough of it to be okay with it. That stuff was good, added on to the themes of the show, and I'd even argue that was one of the ones that probably shouldn't have gotten a season. I would have told you not to do it if I had been there, so like... But, like we were saying earlier, like I was also mentioning earlier, just because I know an exception doesn't mean it's not necessarily kind of generally true. Zero is a prequel that doesn't follow the main characters. Oh yeah, prequels can be fun. Prequels can also be more fun when they don't necessarily have to, like, involve the main cast. One of the reasons I think the Star Wars prequels are kind of annoying is because, look, George Lucas clearly kind of, like, retconned some stuff in his head, and he has to, like, shove everyone into their It's a New Hope time starting positions at the end. Like, Episode 3 is probably the best movie, and it ends with everyone having to, like, line up and get ready for A New Hope to happen in, you know, a decade and a half or whatever. It's just weird. Also, the Star Wars prequels are generally messy, in my opinion. They're not unwatchable. Well, the Clone Wars is, like, so boring I want to fall asleep, and the Phantom Menace has a moment or two, but generally no. However, yeah, prequels can be very messy things. I would like to see a Code Geass prequel. We were talking about Code Geass earlier, and the more I think about it, having, like, Code Geass has so much potential for a sequel, because you could kind of do anything with it. I mean, think about it. Code Geass has, like, an entire alternate history of Britannia alongside the supernatural elements. So theoretically, you could choose any of those to be, like, the focus of a prequel series. Now, granted, they're going to want the mechs to be there, so it's probably going to be something more recent. But I could totally see something, like, older as, like, a prequel series. Because remember, there have been plenty of other Geass users. Like, Lelouch isn't a special boy because he has Geass. He's one of many people who've been offered the gift of Geass. There was even a whole cult and everything. Are incredible. Oh, God. Are the memes really worth all of that pain? Are the memes really worth that pain? Come on. Also, one of those memes is literally a shout of no that is often been used to describe the prequels. Even their own memes prove my point. Literally the Vader no meme for the entire prequels. That's my view. Yes. Dawnseeker is of the vine that all of that pain and suffering was worth it because we got memes. Good to know where you stand.
Off with your head. Oh, touch me.
Oh, is this man dodge rolling? This man is dodge rolling me. I am the only one allowed to dodge roll. How dare you dodge my attacks? Like we're operating on even the same modicum of a power system that we share. How dare you? It's a disgrace. A game willing to dodge my attacks. Ugh. They're rough and it gets everywhere. Oh my god, no. No, please don't turn my chat into this. Please don't turn my chat into this. I beg of you. I beg you, please. Spare me this agony. Think of how many times those memes have been used and reused over the years. Yeah. I mean, the high ground has been memed to death. Speaking from personal experience, the high ground makes it very hard to hit the people under you. That's just my personal vibe, you know? Although I did have the high ground earlier with the ladder, so maybe I don't get to talk about that. Alright, I really wish I hadn't died earlier, so I'd actually know where the hell I'm supposed to be going. This is pod racing. Ugh. You know, I love how the Knights of the Old Republic games don't want to touch that so badly. They have swoop racing instead. They're like, no, we're not going to touch the prequels. We refuse to touch the prequels. It refused to touch the prequels so badly. They're like, no, we're going to make an entirely different racing sport, just so we don't have to say it's pod racing. Look how many memes come from the original Star Wars movies. A decent number, I'd say. I mean, I Am Your Father is probably, like, the big one that people have memed over the years. You know, it's been referenced and memed. Compared to the prequels, yeah. Compared to the prequels, oh, yeah, you're not wrong. You're not wrong. The prequels have... Oh, God, are you trying to... I don't like where this conversation is headed. I really don't like it. The pod racing was the best part. It honestly wasn't terrible. It wasn't anywhere near the worst part of the movie. The worst part of the movie was watching the fucking Jedi Council just do nothing for several years while Sith got them to wage war for him. Like, holy shit, man. Didn't even go down. You went down... Also, can I just say, for people who could precognitively sense when people are about to turn on them, you know, who can sense the emotions of those around them, they went down like little bitches. I think that's my biggest sin for the movie, is that it made all the Jedi die like, just like the worst bitches possible. Like, the expanded material makes it so like a bunch of them survived, but in the original movie, they make it seem like all the Jedi died en masse. Like, it wasn't even like they were hunted down after the fact where they put up a good fight. You see shots of these guys just like getting like just ganged up on by like 4 clones shooting at them at once, and suddenly that's too much. These are people, I remind you, who have like literally gone into an army of droids with nothing but their lightsaber and walked out as the only person who made it. Oh man. Doesn't even raise eyebrows now. Fair. I mean, to be fair, by the time Mace Windu came along, there were other lightsaber colors. The expanded universe had been a thing for a while at that point. Granted, I'm not sure how many Star Wars fans knew about all of that. I don't know how prevalent that was, but like, multiple lightsaber colors was like a whole thing for a while in the Star Wars canon. And also, there have been a bunch of video games and stuff. There have been a bunch of video games and side material with multiple lightsabers for a long time, before the prequels. Alright. I think I'm still very lost. I'm lost and alone. And I need to find where I was, because I think I found the way forward, and I just completely lost the plot. I'm gonna have to, like, rewatch this video, probably, to figure out where I went. The constant war and politics that cloud their judgment and distance. I get what they were going for. What I'm not arguing it wasn't thematically relevant. I'm arguing it was boring for people to watch. Limit purple lightsabers. I'm not sure purple specifically, but I'm nearly positive there were multiple different colors for lightsabers before the prequels. Like, we already had blue, green, and red by that point, because Luke had a green saber and a blue saber, and there was already the red Sith sabers. Actually, did Mace use his lightsaber in Revenge of the Sith? Not Revenge of the Sith. Not Revenge of the Sith. Did Mace use it in Phantom Menace? Did Mace's lightsaber ever get displayed in Phantom Menace? According to the prequels, and I grew up with the originals. I actually grew up with the prequels. I ended up watching the prequels around the same time I watched the... I think I watched the originals a little bit before we had them on VHS, but around the same time the prequels were coming out. So I was watching them alongside the originals, essentially, to me. Just grab the item.
Die!
Move! Get wrecked. Get wrecked, buddy. Oh shit. Oh shit, shoot.
Die!
Damn it. I was trying to get my magic up. I should have just slashed with my sword. What was I doing? Yeah. And to be fair, the only ones I really thought were the ones I never watched was Attack of the Clones. I distinctly remember even as a kid being bored with Attack of the Clones. And if you can't keep a child's attention, like your bare minimum, proves dictated tyranny doesn't all. Okay, yes. And also, I do not argue when the idea doesn't work. Honestly, if you watch the Clone Wars, one of the reasons I think the Clone Wars is really cool is that it shows the prequels had a cool premise. Their idea was that the moral decay, the Sith didn't even need to do that much. All they needed to do is stoke the natural fears and dissatisfaction that a lot of people were already feeling about the Republic. That's all Palpatine had to do. All he had to do is, so this is how Liberty dies with a thunderous applause. That was actually a really good line. It was a very good line. I'm not arguing there wasn't some actually good ideas behind the writing. And quite frankly, that one line is one of the best lines in, the entire franchise. Weirdly enough. Legitimately. Because it very much describes Palpatine's plan to absolute T. And the idea that the Republic morally decays over time is something that's explored in, a bunch of stuff, too. Not just that. But it also was very, the actual idea behind the prequels was the Jedi had grown distant. They've become more of Senate lapdogs and protectors for the core worlds. And Palpatine just exploited the natural dissatisfaction to start a civil war. And then after the Civil War, he was out using that. He was able to essentially get enough power to become a dictator. Which, honestly, they took a lot of inspiration from Julius Caesar there. Except, what if he was completely evil and not a more complex character? And yeah, I can understand that. It makes sense. The actual writing for the prequels, not necessarily the writing, but the overall planning, the beats on the story of we find distant Chosen One, the Chosen One ends up growing attached to people despite the Jedi's decries of no attachment because he was already attached to his mother and he loved Padme. That love and desire to protect them as Palpatine is manipulating him in the moral decay. The Jedi's detachment makes them seem cruel and cold. There's a lot of points there that I'm okay, I see the bones of a good story. And I know those bones work because Clone Wars essentially took those same structural bones and turned it into a really, really good overall story that very makes it clear that, yes, Anakin does want to do the right thing, but he will also prioritize the safety of his loved ones over anything, including his own life, but also including the safety of the universe and the galaxy as a whole. It also shows Palpatine worming his way deeper and deeper into the Republic and setting things up like Clone Betrayal. And also just Darth Maul coming back and being a bit of pain, Ventress and Sidious and Dark Tyrannus, which was Dooku's name, by the way. Having them and that whole thing with the Sith politics going on and the apprentices slowly realizing that none of them are actually there. The irony is that the detachment of the Jedi often creates self-fulfilling prophecy. Yeah. Well, that's what I kind of like. It's they could have had everything. Imagine if they had just let Anakin go back for his mother. It wasn't even in Revenge of the Sith, I don't think. I genuinely think they lost the moment they let Anakin's mother die. The moment they decided to stop him from going back to check on his mom, they lost.
Die!
Because Anakin's mother would never have wanted him to do the things he did. She might have been even able to stop him. Hell, if they just if Qui-Gon had to live, the number of fan fictions I know are out there that are literally just Qui-Gon lives, happy ending. They were so close, because the reason Qui-Gon was cool is because he basically just did not give a shit about the Order. He did what he thought was right, and he could have been a really good mentor to help manifest that mindset in Anakin in a positive way. He was and I don't blame Obi-Wan. I know a lot of people blame Obi-Wan. Obi-Wan was a goddamn teenager trying to raise a child and do his best while also fighting a war. He was doing his best, okay? I don't blame Obi-Wan for how shit went down. But, man oh man. Oh shit. Man oh man, the detachment of the Jedi. Qui-Gon was what centered them. He understood the Jedi's principles and he understood their philosophy, but he also understood that they couldn't be completely removed from the universe. He was the Jedi that interacted with people, that did things that the Council didn't like because they were right, that they needed to be done, you know? And then they lost him, and then they didn't listen to Anakin's warnings about his vision. And you'd think they would have learned the lesson, you know? I know he never told anyone about the Sand People. Council had two different views on the nature of the Force. Yeah. Qui-Gon believed it was healthy to let things out, to let go of things, but you had to let go of things, like, in your own time. The Council believed on just, like, ignoring shit. You don't need to process it. You can just, like, ignore it long enough, and you'll just stop being a problem. Just let it go. Just don't care about anything. Qui-Gon clearly cared about people, you know? He was a Jedi. He tried to do what was right. Like, he didn't fight to free Anakin's mother when he had the chance, but to be fair to Qui-Gon, like, what are the odds he wasn't just going to go back there once this whole mess was cleaned up? Like, from what we saw of Qui-Gon, I genuinely think that if he had survived the Phantom Menace, he probably would have just gone back with a bunch of credits or a bunch of, like, or some expensive part and got in Anakin's mother back. Like, legitimately. I think, oh god, he really was him dying really was the beginning of the end for the Jedi. It really was. But I feel like they still could have done it if they had just been willing to, like, listen and be supportive. Instead, they were just trying to teach Anakin to block it all out. Block it all out. It's like, dude, his mother died, you raised him in a war, which is already going to give people some skewed views on things. And now he's telling you, hey, remember how I had that vision about my mother being brutally tortured, and I was only a few hours too late because I listened to you? I'm coming to you again, Yoda, and I actually am having good memories that someone else I love is going to die. Please, I don't want it to happen again. Give me literally any advice. Do anything, like offer to look them over in a medical facility, offer to help, and Yoda just told him to let go of everything, and it's like, okay, fine, I'm going to the shady old dude. I'm going to the other shady old dude, because clearly the one I was trusting just isn't helping right now. The worst part is, I feel like if Mace had tried to take, the worst part is they had a third choice too. They fucked up 3 times too. Actually, they fucked up many times, but the 4th major fuck up was with Mace. If Mace had let the Chancellor stand trial, I know by this point he basically owned the Senate, but if they revealed him as the Sith, if they took him alive, they wouldn't have lost Anakin, I don't think. I think that if they had taken the Chancellor alive, they would not have lost him. Mace, weirdly enough, broke the Jedi Code in a way that must have seemed very hypocritical to Anakin, actually, because remember, Jedi aren't supposed to kill. They do sometimes, but it's not something they should be aiming to do. And Mace essentially wanted to break that code. The very code that had been why they couldn't help Anakin with his wife and why his mother had to die. It must have seemed really hypocritical to watch Mace break the code for revenge, or to kill a Sith, and not to save an innocent person, even though the Jedi were to protect this. Wow, that moment has a lot more baked into it than I thought. Think about all the theming behind it. Again, there's very good structural stuff. It's just the rest of the rest of those movies is made of a bad CGI, cringeworthy performances, and ooh, Jar Jar, and more bad CGI on top of it. Boom. Spider-Man. Boom. Got him. Alright, so what do we got here? Problem is there's a common people that, by that point, there's the common people at that point who saw no difference between the Sith or the Jedi and viewed the different sects of the same religion. That happened after. So the main reason that happened was because... So what happened was, you're right, there had already been some blurring. But you have to understand, before the Jedi were declared traitors, the Jedi were the good Force users. They were the people who fought on the Republic side, and Dooku and his horrible dark side users were propagandized as the evildoers. And afterwards, after the Jedi's betrayal, they had no reason to believe any Force user was good, because remember, the they could suddenly use the fact that Dooku used to be a Jedi, and before their betrayal, before Sidious declared they were treasonous, that matches your nature, you might just have to do it. I feel like this is a weird choice. What the frick is this thing? You might just subdue it. Huh. I'm gonna think about this a bit before we do that. After it, though, look at the horizon, reunite with faces of the past. Afterwards, Sidious was essentially able to brand all Force users as dangerous, unstable, and a threat to the Empire. And nobody knew he was a Force user, and the people who knew about Vader, I mean, it's Vader. What are you gonna do, arrest him? He's the Emperor's right-hand goddamn man. And again, once the Jedi were declared traitors, there really was no difference. Like, before the Jedi were declared traitors, they were kind of seen as the same, but Dooku and his things were considered like dark or evil Jedi, essentially. They were the Dark Jedi, which is an actual thing I think it's brought up in the Clone Wars a few times by people who are not as like well read on like the Sith or whatever in the universe. But after the betrayal, there was no Dark Jedi or Jedi. It's like, well, they all betrayed the Republic. Dooku was just the first one. And you are right. By the end, there's a regular thing that's brought up in the expanded universe of Star Wars, which is that there's just Force users, and everyone saw Force users as very bad. And the Emperor got to cackle behind the scenes because, you know, he wasn't a Force user. But nobody knew he was a Force user, anyways. He was, but nobody knew. Or at least most people didn't know. I think some people definitely knew. Some people definitely knew. I mean, he had an entire underground ring of Jedi hunting Force users, so somebody obviously knew something. But, it was weird, yeah. It's weird. Star Wars has a lot of like weird amounts of potential for something that's caught up in such a like basic moral dichotomy of good versus evil. I think like there's a lot of like nuance to some expanded universe stuff at least, and it has some interesting points of view about things. It's just Star Wars is a bit basic when it comes to a lot of its like overall themes, at least in the movies. You know, peace over violence, that kind of thing. Not like super basic, but also not super complex either. The prequels try to be more complex, and I can give them points for trying. Because, you know... I have very mixed opinions of the sequels. I'm just gonna say this, I have very mixed opinions on the sequels. On one hand, I like The Last Jedi. I think it's a flawed movie, but I think it had some good ideas and some really good moments. I liked how it tried to at least do something different. I think The Rise of Skywalker is kind of just a mess. I don't think it's like a horrible mess. I just think it's so unfocused in so many directions. It feels like it went through like 3 rewrites, and they just fused all the different versions of the script together into one congealed mass. And the prequels have a good bone structure, but like all the supporting elements, from most of the actors down to just the CGI and effects to even like the pacing, are just kind of a mess. Well, the sequels are interesting because the sequels aren't like the prequels. They're not bad for like they're not bad in a universal way. Each of them is differently bad. Again, I like The Last Jedi. I think The Last Jedi is probably the best of them, and it has good moments. And overall, I would say it's a good movie. It's just, a Star Wars movie has to be a bit more than that, and also, it's not a perfect movie either. I say good, not great, or perfect, or any of those words. I'm saying good, which is like a 7 out of 10. It's a good, solid 7 out of 10 movie for me. I liked it a bit more when it came out, but the novelty of all of it's worn off, so mostly I'm just like, it tried to do new stuff, it tried to be its own thing, it tried to move on. It didn't work out. They backpedaled way too hard in the sequel, and the final one. And the first one was literally just A New Hope with slightly different casting. So, you know. I'm sorry, if your script includes the words, another Death Star, for the third, if you're scripted to lose another Death Star in a Star Wars sequel, get out of the freaking writer's room. You do not deserve to be there. Please get out. Get out. You do not need another Death Star. Please stop. Just stop. We don't need an extra big Death Star. There are other things the characters can be looking for other than galactic superweapons that blow up planets. The Sith can do other things. Ugh.
You, Hong Liu, the Trinity Bell. You will pay for this.
Hand over the Trinity Bell. I feel like I'm about to make some choices, and I'm not sure I want to make these choices. Last Jedi had Luke, the man who saw good in the heart of the evil man. Yes, and I get that. I do. But we've also seen what Force Visions can do to people. And I'm not going to say it's perfect. I don't think it is perfect. I want to make that very clear. I do think they could have made that a lot better. However, I do think it's also in character for Luke that he also didn't go through with it. It was a momentary fear that he had. And he also didn't go through with it and was going to not kill him. And was, like, very ashamed of himself for even having the thought for a second. And on top of that, the only reason Kylo, like, ran is because he woke up with the lightsaber over him, but Luke was already putting it down. Like, he was like, what the fuck is wrong with me? I need to be a better person. I need to meditate and refocus myself. They're just dreams. I'm not going to do this. So it's like, oh wow, I've got like a lot of items to hand over here. Okay.
Though red. What treasures do you have for me today? Let me make an assessment.
I'm not going to hand over anything yet. I'm not sure I want to. I'm trying to figure out like where I want to put things and which characters I might want to hand them over to. Oof. We've got choices to make. We got choices to make. Hey, look! People actually, enemies fighting amongst themselves. Interesting. That wouldn't have even been a thought in his mind if it was Luke's character. I think you are right. I think that that was a bit out of character for Luke. I would argue that he can do more than that one moment. And also, humans are prone to making mistakes. I get it from like a consistency on a character level. I do. However, I also can like... I can accept it as a slight stretch in logic for me. Mostly because, like, if he had actually been going to go through with it and then Kylo reacted, I would have called complete bullshit. The fact that he wasn't going to go through with it, it was like nightmare visions causing him to have fear. I'd be like, okay, Luke is still... Luke, yes, Luke forgave his father for a lot, but also, like, you know, he also can be still afraid of things. I think it's stretching his character. I will say that. I think it works if you stretch his character a little bit, if you're willing to accept a bit of hand-waving there. But I also think it leads to a somewhat interesting place, where he's saying that one mistake can sue him. Oh, you beat the Dev and Candy Hunt box. I had my computer restart earlier today, so I think my candy box thing closed. I had a save of it, but I'm not sure I'll be continuing to play. I almost beat... I had enough stuff to beat the dragon, though, my last save, so I might try it. We'll see. We'll see. I think you're right, but that also doesn't stop me from enjoying the rest of the movie. I do think you are right, Dawnseeker. I just don't... It doesn't stop me from enjoying the rest of it. And where that leap in logic and that slight stretching of character got us. Which is a hard thing for me to fully describe. And like I said, I do think it's a very flawed movie. I don't think it's like some perfect movie. One of the things that really annoyed me when it first came out was people saying it was like, oh my god, it's the best Star Wars movie ever. And I'm like, guys, no. Like, there were as many people saying it was the best as it was the worst to autosave your game. I think manual saves are unique to their computer. Oh, okay, okay. So it might still be there. Cool, cool. I'll check on it. I mean... Dude, do you really want to talk about that? Really? Look, I'm just gonna be frank with you. All Star Wars protagonists are a bit Mary Sue-ish. They are a lot. Like, we have Anakin, the chosen one hotshot pilot, who literally who was able to beat, who was able to complete a pod racing, the only human on Earth who can do this dangerous alien racing, who is also the chosen one, with objectively stronger force powers. By the way, we retcon midichlorians in there, so we can tell you objectively that he has the most midichlorians, therefore the most powerful force user anyone has ever seen. And he's also, on top of all this, in love with the princess, who he's totally going to get together with in a few years. Oh, and on top of all of that stuff, he's also able to pilot a ship, which he has never been in, by the way, so well that he's able to destroy the droid command center, even after all the adults fail to do so. That's prequel Anakin in episode 1. Luke. Here we have a farm boy who has literally never seen a lightsaber or really heard about the Jedi aside from the Clone Wars and distant memories of them. He's piloted a basic hover car through a canyon. That's his big claim to fame. And this kid is going to instantly pick up a lightsaber, get decent with it, start learning how to use the Force, and then he's going to do the one shot with the Force. He's going to basically instantly get good enough to use the Force to blow a hole in the Death Star, which no other pilot could do, while out flying goddamn Darth Vader, who is one of the most powerful Force users and flying, and previous chosen one. They are all Mary Sues. All of them. You have to understand this. Rey's in episode 1 and 2, Rey's feats are pretty mid compared to some of the shit that Luke and Anakin were doing. Like, good gods, man. Do you remember how young Anakin was when he used the Force pull? He used it during the pod race. He was like, what, 8? No, die bad. No, DEI bad. Oh my god, dude. Whenever somebody says Rey is a Mary Sue, I'm like, are you gonna not mention the other, like, 15 Star Wars protagonists? And yes, 15. Star Wars protagonists are almost universally just unbelievably skilled at everything they do and, like, way too good in general. That is a messed up sound for a child to make. Listen to that child making this sound. Yeah, that child's head is slurry. So yeah, I do think that Rey. I don't buy the whole Rey is a Mary Sue. Kyle Katarn, anyone? Yeah. Or hell, just like the Force user from the Knights of the Old Republic games, or quite frankly, even Revan. Like, Revan is a freaking monster. He got his mind wiped and was defeated by the entire Jedi Council going at him through pure surprise and luck with a unique Force skill. And he still was left alive and, like, got all his powers back and became either the Savior of the Light or the Dark Lord. Dude, Revan alone, like, oh, fuck. And Revan's one of the more tame examples that kind of earns it due to the years of training. There are a bunch of Jedi, though, like, who just, like, have no training and unlock Force skills like nobody's business. I mean, the guy from Jedi Survivor, Cal Kestis. Yeah, he was a Padawan for a few years, but he was, like, a child and then didn't use the Force for years. And by the end of it, he's throwing it around like it's no big deal. Oh, dude. All Star Wars protagonists are Mary Sues. All of them. Every single one. They're all generically good at stuff. That's just the Force. That's the hand-wavy Force magic bullshit. You're just instantly good at anything you put your mind to with the Force. You want to be a pilot? Cool. You want to be an engineer? Awesome. You'll be the best engineer in the world. Oh, that reminds me. He also built CP-3O as an 8-year-old while also learning pod racing, while being a slave on a desert planet with no resources. Dude. Just look at Anakin. Maybe you can handwave Anakin with Chosen One. Fine. But, like, Luke was nearly as good, and holy shit. Just, no. I can't buy I can't buy the Mary Sue argument for Rey. It's one of those things I've just never... Cal Katarn was a motherfucker with a Star Wars Force. I haven't played the Jedi Academy games, I'll be honest with you guys. A real Tony Stark. He built it in a cave. Oh man, oh man, oh man. It is one of those arguments I can do the argument where it's like Luke is out of character. I can do that. I can do the argument with the casino scene being stupid. I can do so many arguments with the sequel trilogy. There are so many valid criticisms to level against the sequel series. Rey being a Mary Sue is, in my opinion, not one of them. It really just isn't. You don't even have the whole she was born out of nowhere and she's just some random kid with like whatever. It's just like, yeah, a lot of the Jedi were just random kids that got picked up by the Jedi Order. Oh, I got Starkiller. Man grabbed. Oh my god, I still remember when he found him when Darth Vader found Starkiller as a baby, and Starkiller manages to pull Vader's goddamn lightsaber out of his hand. Like, think about that for a second. I know that scene gets glossed over by some people, but really think about that. This tiny toddler managed to pull a lightsaber out of Vader's hand. Think about how insane that is. Oh, and then there was the ship feat. Honestly, the Vader thing is almost more impressive to me, but the ship feat was also just, like, stupid ridiculous. Though, to be fair, by the time he was doing that stuff, he'd been personally trained by Darth Vader for years. Which makes it weirdly more believable than a lot of the others. Like, oddly enough, despite how ridiculous Starkiller's feats are, he's weirdly more believable than a lot of the other characters, just because he was actually trained by motherfucking Darth Vader. Which, honestly, if you're gonna have a reason for a character being badass, being trained by Darth Vader is a pretty good one. Star Wars used to be cool. Star Wars is still cool on occasion. Have you not seen that, like, Star Wars anthology anime? That was a fucking, like, the Ronin Sith warrior. God, that was so fucking cool. There's also, if you haven't watched, a bunch of other stuff, like the Clone Wars is good. That was still pretty recent. You have, what else? Not Rebels. Rebels has one or two good scenes in a handful of its episodes, but it's not a good show, in my opinion. The Mandalorian Season 1 was good. Don't try and argue. We all were hyped for that when it first came out. Andor is good. I've seen nothing new with Star Wars. Andor was good. Andor was also good. I need to watch Season 2, but Andor Season 1 was amazing. I took way too long to get on board with it, but I am on board with it now. I will admit, I have not seen anything in the last few years that has made me go, holy shit. Like, that's come out recently. Even the Obi-Wan show was more just like a, okay, we're killing time here. Though, to be fair, I think that's also just that, like, Star Wars got really overused by Disney, like they did a lot of their franchises. Star Wars is the kind of thing you pull out and make a new thing every once in a while, and then you have some books going on in the background. Though, speaking of books, I have heard really good stuff about the High Republic books. There's these Star Wars books for the High Republic, which is like the Republic Golden Age. I've heard really good stuff about it, and I need to read them. I keep telling myself I'm going to read them, and they're on my list of, like, things to read. I need to, because I used to see them all the time in, like, the new releases section. They were still coming out when I was at Barnes & Noble. So they're still pretty recent, like, last 3 or 4 years. Definitely want to check them out. I will let you know if I recommend them when I do. So, keep an eye out for that eventually. I gave up on Star Wars since Disney took over. Disney was responsible for the last season. See, that's the thing. If Disney only made bad stuff, I would feel good saying that. And I think overall they have been negative for the series, but Disney made the last season of Clone Wars, which was amazing. That was like one of the best seasons of Clone Wars. They made the that anthology series with the fucking Studio Trigger animation that was goddamn gorgeous. They've made The Mandalorian Season 1 and Andor Season 1. If Disney just made bad stuff, I would feel so much better about shitting on them. Now, I think they've been a net negative for the franchise, but I'm so conflicted because they've made so much good shit too. You're entitled to your opinion, Dawn Seeker. That's all I will say on that. I'm going to try and ignore what you just said. You are entitled to your opinion. Your opinion is very valid. I just think that opinion is wrong. I have a very different opinion. Your opinion is valid, but I have a very different opinion. Love final season. Anyway, I think we're gonna probably wind down here. I think this is a good stopping point. Let me finish this off by trying to tell you my opinions on this. I think Disney went into the Star Wars franchise with a lot of enthusiasm and a lot of energy. I think the problem is, Disney wants things to keep going forever. They want to make milk sequels until people are tired of it. And the thing about Star Wars is you don't want people to get tired of it, because now nobody cares. If they released a new Star Wars thing and it was amazing, nobody would give a shit, because they've had so many boring or pointless things they've released, either shows or movies that flopped, like Solo, and I'm just like, I never saw that one, so I can't judge. But I think Disney's problem is they just milked the series. They had good stuff at first. It's sort of like what they did with Disney Plus and with Marvel. Loki and WandaVision were really good, and then they just kind of kept making stuff, and they didn't know when to stop. They need to put a pause. Honestly, it almost should be a rule for Star Wars that every, like, after, like, 2 or 3, like, projects, be there a trilogy, a TV show, and a game, somebody needs to go into the room, grab the writers, throw them out of the room, lock all the Star Wars assets in a big box, drop it into the bottom of the ocean, and we can go get it in about 4 years. The writers need a break. They need to get away from the material because they get so caught up in their own bullshit. And Marvel also tried to turn it into, like, the Star Wars MCU style thing. I'm not sure if anybody else... Did anybody else notice that? That Star Wars became very MCU stylized, where everything had to connect together. Like, think about this. You had the Mandalorian show, which was connecting with the Boba Fett show, which was connecting into the Ahsoka show, which was also connecting back into the Rebels TV show, which was a spin-off that was variant and also a sort of pseudo-sequel to the Clone Wars TV show. The Diary of the 501st. Okay, I will. Star Wars tried to become very, connected universe, which was popular at the time, and I think that was a mistake. Like, don't get me wrong, you can have other stuff going on, but it really did feel like Disney wanted everything to feed into it. Can't do anything, can't do awesome stuff, so Extended the Universe got decanonized. I'm actually a little upset about that, because I've read some of the stuff, and it seems both stupid and fun, which is where I think Star Wars does its best work. I mean, on one hand, Clone Trooper zombies. I mean, on one hand, Stormtrooper zombies, which, meh. On the other hand, prison inside of a black hole sounds freaking awesome. Also Force Gods and Eldritch Abominations, and there was so much cool stuff to play around with the Extended Universe. I really wish they had done it. Especially since it seems like Disney really is just recreating the Extended Universe. Like, they got rid of think about this. They got rid of Kyle Katarn, and then replaced him with another ginger Jedi Order 66 survivor who also becomes like a super powerful Force user. Like, it really does feel like they got rid of the Extended Universe just to add back most of the stuff they got rid of, which is really weird and awkward, I think. Like, why get rid of it at all at that point? I don't know. I wasn't super attached to it, but I do think it was stupid to just mass get rid of it. Oh yeah, you didn't know that? That's a thing. Yeah, here, I'm about to exit the game anyway. Let me show you, because I do want to show you this. Let's see here, Stormtrooper zombies. Here, let's just show you. Let's just show you. I'll just motherfucking show you. Let's go. Stormtrooper zombies. Here's an undead trooper, buddy. This is a thing. It was in a book. This is a Stormtrooper zombie. Do you like it? Do you want more of this? What Disney wanted was to be able to take credit for all the Extended Universe stuff. Well, that's not what's happening. I'm just calling them copycats. This is sick. There's a whole thing. There was a whole, like, yeah. There was a viral agent called the Sickness. I think one of the main characters got infected, actually, and, like, died. Like, I think, what, did Chewie die or something in this one? I think did Chewie die from, like, a undead stormtrooper? Let's see something real quick. One moment, I want to check something. Wait, oh my gosh, it's in there. They did copy it! They copied it! It's in, oh my god. This is in canon. They copied it. They called it Project Blackwing. That is just sad. Oh my god. What is it from? Star Wars Commander. What is this? They put it in a mobile strategy. The only reason it exists in the Star Wars universe right now is because it's in a mobile game. It's in a mobile game. Also, this image is like way darker. Like, look at that. That's a Stormtrooper zombie right there. Oh yeah, Chewie. I think Chewie did get infected at one point. Let's see. I know there's something about it, yeah. See, it makes sense. They did, but they didn't even use it for anything cool. They used it for a goddamn mobile game, which was like a big army game. I'm willing to bet the only reason that lore exists is like a text blurb on top of a zombie stormtrooper like unit in a game. Star Wars used to be cool. Yes, Star Wars used to be cool. Now it's just being mined for cool ideas so they can throw it in mobile games. You know what? Disney was, I stand by what I said. Disney had some, like, interesting stuff at the beginning, but they've diverted to just, like, mining the old stuff and throwing it at the worst possible projects. I hate them. So, yeah, I think this is about where we're going to leave off for today. I am deeply saddened. I didn't know I could feel more ashamed of Disney, but knowing they did the Stormtrooper zombies just to throw it in a mobile game makes me sad on levels I didn't know I could be sad on. So I will see you guys next time. Bye.